Imagine this situation. You've just went into the Nether to do something or get something, you come back to the overworld, next to your sugarcane farm, and you find this. And no, I didn't build it this way, I went through that portal a few times, and eventually the flying machine broke. And this is a thing I don't like about farms that use flying machines to harvest. Because now you have to break the flying machine and you have to rebuild it here so that it can start again. And I don't know about this because if we go into survival and just break the sugarcane manually, this is way faster than rebuilding flying machines. And I don't know about you, but I like my farms to just start them once, forget that they exist, and then just check my storage system for the resources that are being gathered. I don't want to maintain my farms, I don't want to stand in a specific spot to start a harvest. I don't want to babysit a machine that is supposed to be automatic but isn't because it breaks all the time. A good farm shouldn't break. I wanted a larger scale sugarcane farm, but I didn't want to babysit it and I didn't want it to break all the time. So I sat down and tried to design a flying machine that doesn't break. Unfortunately, I don't think it's possible right now, at least not with the knowledge I have, but I invented something that is close enough. And I call it a tethered flying machine. Tethered because it's on a tether or a wire. It works like this. This is a setup I would be using in a farm. So it moves just once along the row and then it turns off. But the turning off is optional, or rather something that is built into the machine, because if I remove that block, this thing will just fly forever. And as you can see, it flies relatively slowly forward and then moves really fast back. And it might be possible to make it move as fast in both directions, but that would vastly complicate the whole mechanism. And since this is just going to be used for sugarcane farms or bamboo farms or stuff like that, it doesn't really matter. You're gonna be running it once every 10-15 minutes and that's it. Let's add back this block to make it stop. So the way you can extend it pretty much as far as you want is to just add observers here that are looking up. The observers are looking at repeaters at 2 ticks. Then the observers are powering some solid block. And we just add repeaters here. Pum, 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 pum. And now if I turn it on, it goes further. You can pretty much build it as long as you want. Well, as long as the chunks are loaded. I have not been able to break it. I tried going to the Nether while it was running, waiting in the Nether for a while, restarting the server on which this was running, and it was perfectly stable. This clock is started by pushing this slime block with an observer into this spot, and the observer sends a pulse that starts the clock. And it's turned off simply by this observer powering this block, which retracts the slime block. The clock has to be 12 ticks. Some other frequencies are also possible, but 12 ticks is the one I have found work best. You cannot make it faster, at least I have not been able to make it faster. I'm sure there are other configurations where these repeaters maybe don't have to be 2 tick, or the clock can be at different frequencies, but this is the most stable one I have found. I don't need to have this machine much faster, but I will be very curious if someone can find a different setup for this that is faster or interesting in some other way. We can just make this clock 1 or 2 ticks faster, and we can see what happens. And then this happens at the end. It's very sensitive to how the pistons are powered. But it ended up in a weird configuration there, and you can see I could just restart it and it will end its cycle and turn off the clock and park exactly here. And the maximum reach of the column of slime blocks, or the front part of the machine, is the first block without the repeater. You can, of course, place the same pattern of repeaters on the other side. And the same kind of machine on this side. And now both will be harvesting, so you can have a sugarcane farm here, or maybe a bamboo farm here, or mix and match however you want. The parking position of the long column of slime blocks is on the second repeater. I have not been able to figure out a way to waterproof this, so I don't think it can be used for a kelp farm. But if someone finds a way, I'll be very curious to see how it could be done. I suspect it is possible, but I don't know how. The problem is that these pretty much have to be repeaters because there is a slime block here, and we need to be able to power this piston and power this piston through whatever block is here. And there aren't that many possibilities for sending power like this without using a repeater here. And if we put water here, well, the water would break the repeaters. I'm sure someone can figure out a way. I haven't been able to. That's pretty much all I have in the description of this machine. It's relatively simple. I think it's a very interesting concept and I really like it. I haven't been able to break it. And I would be very happy to hear if you can find a good use for it, and especially if you can figure out how to make it either faster or usable for a kelp farm. If you have any questions, just ask them in the comments and I'll try to answer anything I understand. And I will soon publish a full guide for a sugarcane farm I have built based around this concept. Thanks for watching. Bye!